Hey guys, how's it going? So first things first, apologies I haven't uploaded a video in a while. My computer decided to just destroy itself. The cooler broke, which then broke the CPU, which broke the motherboard, which broke everything. So I've been spending a fair amount of time getting that back together, getting the parts I need, etc, etc. So that's the reason why there hasn't been a video in a while. But we're back, and I thought we'd start with something a bit off the beaten track, I guess, for me on this channel, which is a solo farming video. Don't worry though, the eidolon hunting guides will be continuing. So the next one I think is going to either be Harrow or Wisp. So do look for those in the future. But today I just wanted to run over this build because I thought it was quite interesting. And obviously, if you're someone who perhaps doesn't have access to a large clan or a squad that you can join to do farming on Steel Path, then this build might be something that you would consider. Or if you just got some free time and no one else is online, this is another build you can use just to farm Steel Essence, and obviously Steel Essence then converts into Kuva. So I'm just going to run over the build. This is an Umbral Former build, which is obviously a bit strange on Nekros. Not many people would bother putting an Umbral Former on Nekros, and I must admit this build is definitely overkill. So you don't have to copy this build, but again, this is like I said, overkill. So we'll just go through it. I've got corrosive projection on. This can be whatever you want, really. The corrosive projection does not matter really in the slightest. You could even put something like Mecha Empowered on. This can actually be quite effective here, and you'll probably see why when we get into a game. Power Drift for the extra ability strength. And then we've got health conversion and equilibrium. This is for our energy orb and health orb pickups. This is just going to give us extra armor from picking up health, which is really good for sustain. And this is going to be also really good for sustain, giving us a lot of health and energy from the opposite orbs. And obviously with our desecrate on, we're going to be getting a lot of health orbs. So really important to have this on. Everything on the bottom row is going to be ability focus. So we've got Umbral Vitality for the health, Transient Fortitude for strength, and Umbral Intensify for strength, and Prime Continuity just for a bit more duration for our Shadows of the Dead. And we've got the two augments on here. We've got Shield of Shadows for the sustain on our Shadows of the Dead, and we've got Despoil on, which makes us use health for Desecrate. You don't have to have Despoil on, however, I would recommend putting it on just because it pretty much guarantees you enough energy to use your Shadows of the Shield of Shadows whenever you want. So yeah, this is what I would go for. It's worth noting as well that this power strength is just enough to tip us to the 13% damage reduction, which you can see at the bottom there. So that essentially means that with 7 shadows up, we get the capped limit of 90% damage reduction, which is what we need. Anything less than this, and it's probably going to be 12%, which will only go up to 84%. So make sure you have this high enough, whatever you do, because you want to get up to that 90% damage reduction. And then for our arcanes, you'll notice I'm not running the usual. We shouldn't need energize in this, just because this equilibrium is going to provide us with comfortably enough energy. So we don't need energize, and guardian we don't need because we're just going to have so much damage reduction from our health conversion and also our shield of shadows. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So what I've put on instead, and you'll see why I've done this again when we get into a game. I put on Arcane Precision, so on headshot, 100% chance for plus 300% damage to pistols for 18 seconds. And I've also put on Fury, which is on critical hit, 60% chance for 180% melee damage for 18 seconds. So this build mainly focuses around our secondary and our melee. So the secondary weapon we're going to be using is the Kuva Core. This isn't actually a very good Kuva Core, by the way, so you can definitely deal more damage than you're going to see me dealing. I think the heat on this is only about, it's around the 28% mark, so it's nowhere near the max sort of 60% that you can get on these. So I do need to do some balance fusion on this, but this is a crit and status build. It's a hybrid. And again, I've put pistol ammo mutation on here just because I've taken this on Void Annie when I was farming ferrite solo for Steel Path. This can easily go over 60 minutes, this build, so what I would say is that you want to be cautious about your ammo. Obviously, you may not need this, but I've put it on just because yeah, it's just a safe bet. You can put on primed pistol ammo mutation, but honestly, you really don't need it. I do have it here, but it's not ranked up. Wherever it is, there it is. So I would just go with the normal one. The primed variant is not necessary at all, and it will just waste slots if you wanted to put something else on over here. But yeah, like I said, everything else is just status oriented. We've got a Riven here, not the best Riven. You'd probably want multi-shot on there. A 3-stat Riven would be a lot better for this, but it is what it is. And perhaps even instead of having crit chance, you could put on attack rate or fire rate, or another element even, something like that. That would probably be the best one you could get, but this one suits me just fine. And then for our melee, we're using Telos Boltes. This is going to primarily be used to take down the Acolytes. We're not really going to be using this to clear any of the enemies out. This is just for the Acolytes. Again, I've got a Riven here. Once again, probably not the best in the world, but this is actually a really good Riven for impact. So as soon as you start fighting, you're going to be hitting high numbers, which is going to be important for killing the Acolytes very quickly. If you get a good combo on this, you can take down an Acolyte in about 1 second, maybe slightly less. So it's really, really good. Even if you don't get a good combo, it's still 1 to 2 seconds to take him down. So yeah, this is a really good build to go for. If you do not have this, just put on electricity. It will do still an amazing amount of damage. You could use Chronon Prime as well if you wanted to, but the Riven disposition on this, and obviously I have a Riven for it, it's a lot higher. And to be honest, I don't really see too much of a difference between the two. So I would really consider going for Telos Boltes over Chronon. But yeah, so like I said, this is a crit-oriented build again. A bit more status on there as well, just because we're using Condition Overload. And that's where our primary amount of damage is going to come from, along with Fury, which we've got on our Arcanes. So yeah, other than that, you can just have a look at this build. I'll kind of leave it up there for a bit, and then yeah, we'll get into it. I'm running Vazaran as well, since we're not going to need any energy from Zanurik. Our build on our Nekros is going to provide us more than enough from the Equilibrium, so we can run something that's a bit more utility based. So we're going to run Vazaran here. This is going to help us pick up our pet instantly for quite a few times. It's also going to help us when we're casting our 4th in sticky situations, because we can make ourselves invincible for a period of time. So this is really a really good one to go for, in my opinion. And then, like I said, we're going to bring our cat here. This is just, you know, not even, well, forward once. But again, fetch, probably a good one to have on here. And then everything else you can just go for kind of, yeah, health mods and things. Make sure you've got Charm on. If you hit Charm when you've got an Acolyte and you get a double buff, then obviously you're going to get 8 Steel Essence instead of 4. Which is really nice, because, yeah, it is worth a lot, Steel Essence. So hitting a double buff on it is very good. But what we'll do, we will just hop in here. We will go for 5 minutes. Well, we'll go until we get the first Acolyte. And then, yeah, we'll pop out and just have a sort of summary overview. But it's worth noting that you can do this anywhere on the map. On the star chart, so you could do this farming any resource you wanted. So, for example, you could do nanospores on Deimos. I'm doing ferrite in this example, but yeah, you can do it anywhere. And as you can see, the Kuvanu core does a very decent amount of damage. For those of you who are a bit newer to the game as well and you're wondering whether or not you can just use the normal new core, no you can't, because the whole point of using the Kuvanu core is that you'll see that the beam actually links up with other enemies, whereas the normal new core does not do that, which is why we're using it. When you're doing this as well, it's good to find a nice spot, maybe in between 2 high loot level rooms, so this is actually quite a good room to have. We've got some decent rooms on either side here for good spawns. We've got the stairs up there, that's probably a good room. And we've got the spawn room we just came from, increasing our spawn rate. I've also put on my first ability, which you probably noticed, I've used Eclipse just for the extra damage. Once again, this is not necessary. You should do enough damage as is. I've just put it on because when you start running sort of over 1 hour in length in a game, it does start to sort of be noticeable, so it's always nice to have that bit of extra damage. But yeah, we can just stand here. Once again, what's also nice about using the Kuvanuka over just sliding around with melee is that I'm not spamming E the whole time. I can just hold left click, and most things will die. And our pet's gone down. I find the pet to be quite temperamental. Sometimes he'll stay up for ages, or she'll stay up for ages, but sometimes they will just go down every minute. But that's why we're running the Zarin. It's also worth noting as well that sometimes, obviously, spawns do cause a bit of an issue, and you may fall behind on life support every now and then. If you get a really good room and really good spawns, then, to be honest, you shouldn't have to worry about it at all. But if you do fall behind, then it's not a problem. You can just go and hit one of the support towers, and you'll be right back up there. Some of you might be wondering why do this, but if you are trying to farm Steel Essence and you don't really have a good squad to sort of assist you with this, then this is definitely a good one to go for. Our pet's going to go down again, there we go. You can just pick her up instantly. So, the Acolyte can spawn anywhere between 3 and 7 minutes. So on average she spawns once every 5 minutes. So that gives us the potential in a 20-minute survival run to get 16 Steel Essence on average. Which is the equivalent of just over 10,000 Kuva. So if you think about how long it takes to sort of get that amount in Kuva Survival, if you didn't get any cap buffs in Kuva Survival, then you'd probably be there for just over 30 minutes trying to get 10,000 Kuva. If you did get cap buffs, then maybe it'd be a bit less than that, around the 25-minute mark if you're really lucky. But yeah, it's in my opinion, this is a better way to farm Kuva than Kuva Survival. It's probably on par with farming Kuva on a Relic Kuva Survival mission. So where you have a Requiem node on Kuva Survival, and you can obviously open Requiem relics to get Kuva. But yeah, this is if you get a cap buff on this as well, the amount of Kuva you get in comparison to if you got a cap buff on Kuva Survival is much higher. So we're getting the Acolyte in here. Let's see how fast we can take him down here. Hopefully we get a lucky bit of a combo working. Ah, he's dead. So, I missed the first few shots there, but you can see that he doesn't pose a threat at all, and I have taken this build up to and beyond 1 hour, and it just remains the same sort of level of easiness as it goes through, so you really shouldn't have to worry about backing out if you don't want to. Obviously, as you get a bit further in, the enemies start doing more damage, but yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. As long as you keep your fourth ability up and going, then you'll just live forever. I'm not going to bother reviving my cat here because I'm going to extract. Once I find out where extraction is.
Our operative is making progress. This will help our cause. Extraction is available if you need it.
But yeah, it's interesting, I think. It's an interesting concept. Farming Kuva, obviously, this is a really, really good way of doing it. But I'd be interested to hear your guys' opinions on it. It's definitely a build that I enjoy using. I really hate the builds that are just kind of melee-oriented and where you just spin around forever. I do like having the Kuvanuka on hand, making my mouse hand work a bit less, and my keyboard hand not spamming E the whole time. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear your guys' opinions on the build, whether or not you have any improvements or things that I could change. Obviously, I'm not using my primary. If you guys can think of a primary weapon here that could work, that could sort of assist me, then that'll be really useful. I have had a look through, and I honestly cannot find a single one that's going to even come close, especially towards sort of the end game kind of area where you're hitting the 1 hour mark. But yeah, do let me know if there is anything that I can improve on here. I'm open to suggestions. But yeah, other than that, guys, that's probably going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and yes, look for some more videos soon regarding eidolon hunts. They will be coming, so thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.